But let's talk about this Dr. Seuss kerfuffle, this nonsense, this whatever. I was going to try to rhyme, but fuck that, right? Dr. Seuss. That guy was a rhyming son of a bitch, you know? If he was born in a different era, if Dr. Seuss was born in 1996, which would put him at 24, going on 25, he would have become a rapper for sure. With the amount of rhyming he does, his love of things having a nice little beat to them, you know, iambic pentameter. I don't even know if that's the kind of rhyming he did, but I love using that word whenever I can. Whenever I may, what do you say? Let's eat some hay. Hey, I just may. Fucking shoot him or Gavin. Happy Gilmore. What's going on? Okay. So Dr. Seuss's corporation, because he's dead. That dude died. Basically came out, but they did this shit a while ago. That's what kills me. This whole latest Dr. Seuss thing is another example of why people need to read past the headline. And all sides are guilty of this. Read past the fucking headline. And I know headlines are bullshit these days because they need to get you to click. I understand that. It's a really fucked up thing that doesn't really get talked about enough. And the thing that has kind of screwed up our society over the last decade and a half or so is the need. I really think, what was it that show Newsroom? Talked about how the news should have been free. You know, like the government created channels, television, the airwaves, and they gave them to the public for free. But there was a deal that you had to do the news, but they should have made the news commercial free, because now the channels just compete to see who could get more people watching their version of the news, which is shit, you know. And nobody really gets informed. And I feel like newspapers, same way. The internet came around and newspapers were like, well, yeah, let's put our stuff online. And they found out the ad revenue from that wasn't enough to keep the operations going as people started buying less and less papers, which there's going to come a day where I'm going to miss holding a newspaper. I don't get the newspaper, but when I visit my dad's house, I pop open that sports section. Why not? You know, and it's mostly stuff that I'm like, I have an app. I know all this news already, but it's still, you know, after a championship, you want to grab the paper, like, you know, the headline, like Cubs win the World Series. That's a cool thing to have. So there will be a time where there's like a sadness when newspapers go away. But when you think about it, actually think about what it takes to print a newspaper. You got these trucks that have to, or these people knock down trees, right? These lumberjacks, these dudes who, last time I met a lumberjack who said the flannel thing is bullshit. Okay, we rarely wear flannel. That's just not true. But I don't know. I would be upset to find out lumberjacks were trimming their sideburns and no longer wearing flannels. That combination would be like, why? That you can fit the stereotype, dude. You know, plumbers have mustaches, cops have mustaches, lumberjacks, crazy sideburns, flannel. I want things to stay how I grew up with them. I don't like change in some regards, and that's all examples of which. But they have to chop down trees. The trees then become paper. They get on these fucking trucks. The trucks lug them to the goddamn newspaper places. The newspapers then use ink to print them. It's just a whole fucking thing. And then they sell them for $1.50 or $2 or who knows what it is. It used to be like 35 cents. And that's a lot of shit. You got to pay writers. I don't know. It seems like a really outdated, archaic thing to do. When you could just, you know, but then I say that, but I want books printed. I still like holding a book. I'm not getting into Audible stuff. I like to hold a book. I'm bouncing off the place, but I'm back on books now. So Dr. Seuss's corporation basically did this months ago. That's what I was alluding to. That they decided we're going to get rid of 6 books. Not get rid of, no longer print new versions of them. The 6 books, I think I heard of one, maybe, because it sounded familiar. Mulberry sounded familiar. Something in Mulberry. This dude parties on Mulberry, I think that was the name of it. I don't fucking know. I was going to look up the 6, but what's the point? You guys would all be like, yeah, never heard of that shit. And if you have, Jesus, what's it like to be a virgin? That's what I have to say to you if you'd heard of these 6 books. What's it like never having sex, you loser? And if you're out there listening and you legit have never had sex, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be a dick about it. You'll get there. Or maybe you don't want to. Who knows? Anyway, get the sex. Sex is good. But so this was a while ago. I don't know. The story broke for some reason like a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And then it's all like they're canceling Dr. Seuss. Can you believe this shit? Some dipshit congressman with an Irish last name that always kills me. It hurts me because it's like it reflects on me, I feel like, some way or another. McCarthy. By the way, if your last name is McCarthy, why are we electing you? I think because Joseph McCarthy back in the day was a dipshit. This McCarthy's a dipshit. I just feel like the McCarthy family, you've had enough. There was a Father McCarthy on the northwest side of Chicago that was accused of diddling kids. Paul, by the way, is McCartney. If you're wondering about the Beatles, he's not a McCarthy. It's a McCartney. I don't know. I just feel like the McCarthy family has taken some hits lately, and they're kind of bringing that shit on themselves. So this dipshit's reading Green Eggs and Ham to Congress. Like, I still love Dr. It's like, no one's canceling Green Eggs and Ham, dipshit. One fish, red fish, tube fish, blue fish, all still there. The Grinch, they're fucking killing it. You know what I mean? That dude who rhymes, all of them, they're fine. They're fucking fine. It's these 6 books that had like outdated shit. And if you look at it, was pretty outdated. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to be hard pressed to be like, well, what's wrong with this? Everybody who saw it was like, yeah, it's pretty shitty towards Asian people, given the rough year they've had from people. So yeah, let's remove this stuff. Also, and then the potato head thing too. These companies, these are capitalist choices. They're doing these things to make them more money. I thought I thought we were capitalist country. I don't know, It's just, there's a group of people who I think are angry and they don't quite know why, but they know they're not a fan of change. And so they're taking out their anger, and the anger is manifesting itself in weird ways because there's stuff to legitly be mad about. You know what I mean? Like, I think that the people who are angry probably have legit reasons to be angry, but they're using every little fucking thing because they just can't. I don't know. Therapy. Everyone needs more therapy, I think. Because it's so weird to me to be like, they're not going to print 6 more books that I never heard of. How fucking dare they? And then the comparisons. I shared a video on my Facebook. I rarely go on Facebook, but I feel like Facebook was the clientele that needed to see this video. Where they're like, we live in a country where a song called Wet Ass Pussy is number 1 in the Billboard charts. But Dr. Seuss is can't. How the fuck do those two things relate? How? False equivalent. Like, they don't. That's so weird to me. We're in a country where Mr. Potato Head is just Potato Head. And at the same time, I tripped and fell down the stairs. Like, that's like, you know what I mean? They don't relate. I don't understand. We're talking about outdated children's books that no one's ever heard of versus it'd be one thing that the kindergarten teachers across America were like, all right, everybody, put away Cat in the Hat. It's time to talk about some wet ass pussy. Okay. We're no longer talking about, thing 1 and thing 2. We're not talking about that thing in the back of your throat that she wants the dude to hit with his dong. That's where we're going, kids. Okay. Okay. Now gather around. Like, that's not happening. Again, outdated children's books that have some weird references that the company themselves said, yeah, we're going to get rid of these. No one begged them. There wasn't protests outside the Dr. Seuss headquarters. None of that shit. They just decided, yeah, this is stupid. And Dr. Seuss himself regretted some of his early work. He did. He later said, yeah, this was because they changed it. It used to be originally like Chinaman, and they changed it to like Chinese American, and there was some stuff like that got changed while he was alive that he advocated for. No one said shit back then. No one cared, or they might have cared. They might have been like, oh, good for him, whatever. But now we're in this race to be outraged. Who's going to be the first to lose their shit over something? And because of that, the things that are worth losing your shit over, I feel like they get diminished, and that's sad. Because there are real things worth like fighting for and getting bent out of shape over. Real things. And if we could get back to that, if we could get back to actually focusing on the real problems of the day, then I think we could actually solve those, because I think people would actually start, instead of seeing each other for what team are you on versus what team I am. I really want us to get to the place where we all just hate politicians. Like, everyone just hates them. Just to start, you know what I mean? Because we forget they work for us. They work for us. The smartest people I know in the field of entertainment and show business always, always, always know my agent, my manager work for me. You work for me. I'm paying you 10%. Yes, you work for me. So if I don't like what you're fucking doing, you're gone. Bye. And I think that's why we don't have politicians. When I hear people like being like fans of politicians, I'm like, why? If they do a great job, admire them later. But while they're in office, I think you have to like hold their feet to the fire. It's a serious job. We got to remind ourselves too that the president does not have nearly as much power as 24-hour news networks and the social media make it out to be. It's really not the case at all. So the checks and balances system, which I think was a great idea, and I think you need checks and balances, but I definitely think government as a whole needs like a 2.0. Because and even Thomas, I've said this a million times on this podcast. Sorry, I'm going around in circles, everyone. Jefferson said, who, by the way, was a piece of shit as a person. Jefferson, but some good ideas. Jefferson said we should have a constitutional convention every 20 years because what's good for the country today might not be good for 20 years from now. So whenever people bring up the founding fathers, I'm like, did you read the founding fathers? It's like, did you read the headline? No. Did you read the Constitution? No. Nobody can name more than 4 amendments if you put a gun to their fucking head. I'm talking about average people here. There's 27, by the way, guys.